We had a series of 5 presentations in workshop number 6. So this was about metropolitan planning. The first was a colleague who I had not interacted with before, David Montgomery. David, are you still here? No, I don't see David. He talked about, from the perspective of a regulatory economist, which is what he is, calculating the benefits of automation in the context of a cost-benefit framework. So the categories that he's been looking at: congestion benefits, safety benefits, energy savings, the security value of energy savings, impacts on employment markets, so making labor markets deeper and therefore more liquid. Same thing with product markets. The efficient use of time, of course. What is the value of being able to multitask rather than simply be engaged in the driving task? And he broke these 2 categories into public and private benefits and walked through the methods that he's been doing to attempt to quantify them. The headline findings there are that of the public benefits, which accrue to people who are to society as a whole rather than just the users of AVs, the single largest category that he's calculated was the reduction in pain and suffering from crashes. So even much greater than the reduction in medical costs, vehicle costs, repairs, etc. It's the reduced pain and suffering from crashes. And in terms of private costs, he calculates that the benefits of removing freight drivers, truck drivers from freight vehicles is in fact the largest, much larger than the benefits from individuals not having to engage in the driving task and doing whatever we wish with our time. Our second speaker was Michael Lim. Michael, are you here? With the Los Angeles Department of Transportation. He talked about automated Los Angeles, the AV innovation plan for Los Angeles. He noted that LA's mayor is on the US DOT advisory board for AVs. One of his interesting points was that he had his slides of levels of adoption into the future, and he pointed out that from his perspective and the city's perspective, they don't really care when particular levels of uptake will happen. He feels that the city's posture needs to be forward-looking in any case, that it doesn't really matter to him how fast uptake would happen. He talked, if I can editorialize, about a lot of, he has an investment banking background, so he talked about a lot of concepts that sound a bit different than what we usually hear, what we heard yesterday from our representatives from the public sector. So his unit in the DOT was tasked with being able to pivot and iterate quickly with the public sector to engage, be adaptable, and involved in co-creation. What he sees as Los Angeles's unique selling points, the market size, the scale of the infrastructure, the intelligence and knowledge contained within LA DOT's existing staff. He pointed out that there's already some platooning testing taking place on the 110 and 210 freeways there. Our third speaker was S.R. Raj. S.R., are you here? And S.R. is with an organization called WARPA, and he talked about the potential for distributed batteries. So he did talk about our express bus lane in the Lincoln Tunnel and of various other corridors in the New York area. He pointed out that a case study in Germany demonstrates apparently that by putting pantographs for electricity on 4 to 5% of the German roadway network, that would be enough for trucks to gain their power from that source and navigate to essentially all of the German geography. Next we had Jerry Luton. I see Jerry. Talking about the safety, service to the disabled and other communities, and capacity benefits of automation in transit and what taxis might mean. As always, Jerry came armed with some really, really interesting numbers. 12,000 per bus per year is the casualty and liability loss that New Jersey Transit experiences for its 2,200 buses. He talked about the costs of collision avoidance warning systems on the order of $6,000, so reduce that casualty and liability cost by half, and after 12 months, it's paid for itself. A unique challenge of autonomous braking in the transit bus arena is the issue of standees on the bus, and he said that's something that they're working on. He showed examples of precision docking to give level boarding for mobility impaired riders with either strollers or wheelchairs. He also talked about the express bus lane through the Lincoln Tunnel, which, if done with level 3 automation, could give as much capacity as the new rail tunnel, which isn't a new rail tunnel, it's an under discussion rail tunnel. He demonstrated from Minnesota the ability to run in 11-foot, so 120-inch wide shoulders, 102-inch wide buses, which are 106 inches with their mirrors. And he pointed out that to his clients, he does not recommend LRT in many cases today, with the exception of certain situations where there's a density of downtown jobs, or there's specific geographic barriers that make rail transit particularly attractive. A number which I had always thought was $30 per one-way trip is now $61, we learned. And this is the cost to New Jersey Transit of providing a one-way, demand-responsive social service type operation. I had always thought 30, and wow, it's double that today. I spoke next about autonomous parking. So we have also in the workshop Shannon McDonald, who literally wrote the book on automated parking garages. I'm going to buy the book. I talked about 3 pieces of work that have come out in the past year since we last spoke. One by a student of mine, second by colleagues at the University of Toronto, and the third by colleagues in Spain, all looking at different concepts of automated parking. So just like with highway capacity, the answer you get as to what the impacts might be from automation on parking depend very, very strongly on the assumptions you make about what will change precisely. Coincidentally, all 3 of us came up with answers that are in the range of a 50% increase in the amount of vehicles that you could cram into existing parking lots. In terms of discussion, so we talked about the need for congestion pricing to deal with the zero occupant vehicle problem. We talked about some common misnomers about Los Angeles. One of the, I think it's the densest large metropolitan area, denser than New York because of its medium density neighborhoods that go on forever. We talked about the difficulty in Los Angeles to get enough density of activities to have rail make sense, so they're dealing with the challenge of having that medium density but not having enough density for rail to really make sense. And then we had a lively discussion at the end of our talk, at the end of our workshop, with Sam Lott, arguing that for a city like Houston, which is growing very, very quickly and projected to continue to do that, his argument was the need to continue with planned transit infrastructure investments in high capacity, high quality transit, rather than to simply press the pause button while we wait to see how this technology will play itself out.